Solano College TV studio. I'm your moderator for today, Jesse Bonamy. I'm joined by Dakota Kaitor, Shenandoah Price, and Nico James Singh. And today we're talking about the Iranian Revolution and what led to where we are now. And starting with that is Dakota.
Yeah, so to give a basic understanding, the idea is that the Iranian people kind of wanted a more legitimate government because they started out with a more illegitimate government because the initial Shah of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was kind of put in place or essentially advocated for after World War II and after everything settled after that point. And that Shah really aligned with kind of liking America and was like very allied with America and kind of promoted Western values. And one of the specific Western values that the Iranian people did not like, especially all of the religious and Islamic people, did not like the whole thing of women's rights. Now, it's kind of hard to understand, but
that was one of the first things to get rolled back.
Women's rights is a no-go. And kind of in a article from the Middle East Institute, kind of on January 29, 2009, kind of explains this a little bit better. The revolution of February 1979 was a revolt of the society against the state. In some of its basic characteristics, the revolution did not conform to the usual norms of Western revolutions because the state did not represent just an ordinary dictatorship, but an absolute and arbitrary system that lacked political legitimacy and social base virtually across the whole of society. So, essentially, there's an illegitimate government. The revolution is here to say, we want to put in somebody in power that agrees with the majority of the people and do this. Now, whether they did that peacefully is up for debate.
Yeah.
And as we see from most Western revolutions,
was it generally a Robespierre kind of deal?
Yeah, kind of more like if you don't agree with the new Ayatollah, so the new religious leader, you are out. So yeah.
I know that like a lot of these like anti-foreign beliefs and like very very strong sentiments against foreign involvement. I know that a lot of them come from British and American involvement in, I do believe, the early 1900s, where there was, I believe you.
So I'm glad you brought up their influence because that is quite literally part of the problem. So there's this thing, hold on, let me see, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which sounds like a joint operation, but it's not. It's a British-owned oil company, and they were taking pretty much all of the revenue, draining all the revenue, all the oil money that you could possibly think of.
Basically, they pulled out the plug from the oil pan?
Essentially, yes. They were buying Iranian oil for super cheap. They were buying, Iran was seeing scraps.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Iran was also under tax from the United Kingdom, but the money they were getting from their oil wasn't covering the tax. So they were just getting, they were just in the red the whole time, and they were getting sick of it.
Yeah, because the people were incredibly upset with that, all of the economic struggles at the time, especially because everything that the Shah was doing. And so they started protesting, and they kept protesting, and then Black Friday happened, where they were protesting in Tehran Square, only for police to open fire, killing hundreds, if not thousands of people. And that started the revolution because of decades of injustice and them struggling for so long, and that it just hit a point.
There's always a tipping point.
I can understand it, yeah, because I know that if I was watching my leader of everything that I can experience and everything that I have access to, if my entire world's leader, if my entire life's direction is being put to, okay, we have access to a bunch of really expensive things. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna starve and then send out luxury goods.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was giving French Revolution because the Shah was living like a king, essentially. And here all the people are just they're not seeing a cent, a dime. And so
trickle down economics once again coming more so in the form of golden shower
because it doesn't trickle down. Honestly, And it's like, so the revolution was necessary. I will say it was necessary, especially for the citizens. Now the whole murdering thing, not a big fan. You know, that wasn't cool. But what's interesting to me is that the revolution was mainly, it was citizen led, because like you said, it's a society against the state. And
it did seem to be the whole society. Like, they were very united about it.
right.
Yeah.
And
It was not unpopular to say
No.
that people hated the Shah.
Yeah,
That's true.
there's a really good article that I found from the University of Chicago Library talking about the different protest art that people made that they were putting up everywhere. Because even if you like can't
That's
read
so
or don't
true.
understand everything, there's art, and you can. Art is a really good piece of media, especially in wartime. And there's so many pieces from the time with their frustrations with the Shah and the whole everything going on at the time. There was a lot of art specifically talking about hating like everything that happened between America, Britain, and then
Yeah.
Iran and the whole oil situation.
there's
Wartime graffiti is still pretty common, right?
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. It's incredibly common and pretty much always has been.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, there's a big reason that like speakers and writers and journalists go missing under regimes like this. There's an even bigger but like that art is a large part of the reason artists go missing. Because
Apathy is the ally of any cruel regime.
essentially, but there's no stronger power under a regime like this than a symbol that everyone can rally under. And that really did, you know, the art really did help.
It's really about the identity.
It
yeah,
really is.
it really helps unify people in like a regime, because you can look at something and be like, oh, I agree with that. And so many people just find a community where it's a lot easier to do if there's a common symbol, like something that they have in common.
Well, and the symbol was so common that we had secular liberals, leftists, nationalists, and Islamists all in the Revolutionary Coalition. These, yes,
No, you said Islamists, and I was like,
I said Islamists.
Yeah.
okay.
Point is, like, these people don't all agree, but they do agree that the Shah
Is bad.
is a big jerk.
Yeah.
So, what ended up happening was revolution, and what we got was
A different flavor
Yes.
of misery.
the same thing, but it's different.
A little bit different this time.
Different coat of paint.
Yeah.
More religious.
Because instead of the oil going to Britain and the U.S., didn't it just kind of feed into his personal
Yeah.
wealth?
I kind of. So, what's the word? So it's like the oil now, like at least at this point, like post-revolution, it's nationalized.
Okay.
But that brought so many sanctions. So many sanctions. The U.S. was not having it. Neither was
Definitely
Britain.
not.
So Iran's economy kind of just crumbles from there, and it's just not great for anyone, especially the ordinary citizens.
Yeah, especially not. A lot of the citizens started struggling. And there's so many first-hand accounts, like there's a really good graphic novel, Persepolis.
Love Persepolis.
From 2000, about this girl, Morjane, who was growing up in the revolution. And in every single chapter, there's so many people who are getting injured, being locked up. And it covers both regimes, from the Shah and then going into the new regime. And people were suffering all that time because citizens oftentimes pay the price for
yeah.
their government's actions.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Always.
Always.
You will never have a man in a suit be the one that's getting shot at.
Yeah, no.
In
They're-
the same way that Iran and the Middle East in general has suffered from U.S. involvement, so is the U.S.
Yeah,
I mean, Army Dreamer, if you want to talk about art.
that's a good song. That's a good
It-
song.
Really
We
is.
love Kate Bush.
But it just, yeah, it gets really bad to the point where there's like a mass exodus of like people just leaving Iran and just fleeing because they can't stand this government.
And that's still happening. And
It's
that's
still-
a big forecast for what could happen in the
It's
future.
been 73.
Do
The
we
whole
wanna
conflict is 73 years.
Move to the second segment?
Yes.
Yeah, because
That's
after
a chunkier one.
Yeah, because after the initial Islamic Revolution, tensions between the United States and Iran were so bad. Because,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
absolutely.
We became enemies for real.
We went,
Any hope of
It's
having a, neutral even a chance of neutrality went so downhill, especially after the Iranian hostage crisis, where they took 66 Americans. 66 Americans were held hostage for 444 days.
Over
And
a
that
year.
they were the embassy. Which
Yeah,
means that
at
you
the
also
embassy.
Have, like, specifically, you have like some, like it's bad enough when you take random Joe off the street. It's extra bad when you're taking strong political people that are like very beloved and very important in the
This was led by
system.
students, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was led by college students.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. They were our age.
Guys, we gotta get on this.
Yeah. We gotta say something.
Say something, say something.
I mean, can't be that hard, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if Carter was still president, it would be really easy. he kind of sold. I'm not gonna lie. That was
is
bad.
this true?
Yes, it was true. It was really bad.
Wait, did he also do the Cuban Missile Crisis? Or was that?
No, that was
No, that was
Kennedy.
JFK.
Kennedy.
That was
yeah.
JFK.
Nothing
Yeah.
bad ever happens to those guys.
I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest. Everything about Carter just melted into JFK.
Yeah.
I forgot everything.
They're so similar.
Yeah. But yeah.
Let's see. But like
The
post-revolution. what do you-
Post-revolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have?
The thing that so I'm going to cite I'm going to cite the CNN article by Harmeet Kaur and Ivana Kotasova with CNN. It was published January 20th, 2020, so this is a little bit outdated now. But I've got the full timeline here. First off, we start off bad with the Tehran hostage crisis, with the embassy. Like you said earlier, 444 days is a long time.
It's over a year. We
Over
missed
a year.
Christmas.
Over a year. We get them back. But that, if somebody kicks you in the nuts, you're not going to be particularly happy to see the next day.
No.
So that was still pretty rough. Immediately after the U.S. backs, or not immediately after. Wait. Ooh, pretty soon after. Yeah, the U.S. backs the Iraq invasion of Iran. And that's just bad. That's another shot at the relationship and reputation between the two of them. After that, 4 years later, in 1984, the U.S. declared Iran a sponsor of terrorism. Reagan said that in a speech, but he still tried to be well off with them. I believe that was at the same time he was conducting the Contra operation, where he was selling weapons despite sanctions to an Iranian militia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so that
Not a good idea.
okay, pick one. The government needs to chill on doing things.
Playing both sides.
Yeah, it really needs to calm down, especially since the citizens are the ones that are angry.
Every time.
Which means every time, both American citizens and Iranian citizens just saw somebody declare their entire country as a sponsor of terrorism.
It's like
Yeah.
they're the
Meanwhile,
enemy.
they've been miserable for like 5 decades at this point.
Yeah,
Plus.
probably more.
Because the governments keep trying and othering all of the citizens to be like, oh, they're the enemy.
Yeah.
We're the good guys here. They're the enemy. But when both sides are doing that, they're just othering
Yeah.
them.
It's like what are the
It
citizens?
just creates a distinction between the government and the people as opposed to country to country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's happening now. I feel more empathy for Iran and Israeli citizens than I do for my government uppers.
Yeah, because it's all their fault.
Also, in terms of empathy, the Soviets invaded Afghanistan and that whole
Yeah.
area, mainly Afghanistan. And there's a movie called Charlie Wilson's War that was kind of
Yes.
about a American senator who essentially gave money for them to get American munitions and everything to
Yeah.
fight the Soviets. The Soviets
Iran-Iraq
essentially.
war was like a proxy war, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and essentially it was a proxy war against the U.S. and the Soviet Union, classic Cold War situation.
Gotta love the Cold
God,
War.
And-
the Cold War.
Cold War.
That whole thing is that Charlie Wilson was very like apathetic and like, hey, these people are suffering under this war. Let me help them fight back.
Yeah.
And that eventually turned around because those people eventually became terrorist organizations, and those terrorist organizations then used those weapons
It
against
reminds
us.
me of the bad ending
So-
of when the Irish helped the Mexicans in the Mexican-American War. It's like the bad ending of that. Like,
Yeah.
Mexico just got independence, but ooh, that's rough. That's rough.
But I guess like, it just seems like all of this is over oil. At least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now, like, it feels like a lot of this is based on like energy politics.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting
Yeah.
kind of getting
Yeah,
that?
there's a lot of that going on.
We
but
keep
there's-
chucking our boys in the sandbox for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oil is also a big part of it because there's never only just one reason why we go to war. There's usually a huge handful of smaller things, maybe some bigger things, but there's so much and it's all just compressed in one thing and oops, there's a war.
But
Here
still,
you go, citizens.
Thanks, guys.
oil is the foundation for the
So
entire
much.
automotive industry. Plastic as a concept.
It's the whole
Plastic.
thing.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Where's what?
Like half those books, plastic, in the covers and stuff. We've got those look like laminate, plastic. A lot of glues and industrial glues, plastic.
Even clothes are made out of plastic.
Well,
This-
polyester.
This,
Some
Wait,
are.
these are
Not all.
polyester?
Yeah.
so you end up with a lot of these issues where the entirety of our society is
Built on oil.
It's built on oil and built on the subjugation of natural resources that we simply do not have. It's the infinite expansion problem.
Yeah.
It's the reason that degrowth is such a common concept and why a lot of people kind of prop it up as a straw man of, you want us to stop making money hand over fist? Oh!
No, it's
When in reality, degrowth is, look, man, we're gonna run out of little children to put in our factories if we don't chill out.
that's what it looks like, honestly.
Kind of. Like, we're gonna run out of dinosaurs, bro. We need to... Bamboo? I heard banana peels was making a new
Oh.
compost, like, composite. Like, we need to figure something out.
But it's like
Stat.
these energy politics, like, so what I have here is from Brookings in 2019, and so like the Iranian Revolution, we just talked about this. There's a major global oil shock, like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The 1979 Iranian Revolution triggered a major global oil shock, and Iranian crude oil production fell by about 4.8 million barrels per day. So they were producing above 4.8 million barrels a day, and they just lost all that. So all those barrels just
Gone.
not happening anymore.
The throughput's not there.
Right, and like that, but that was between late 1978 and early 1979. But that's roughly 7% of the world's oil production at the time. That's 7% of the world's oil.
Much.
And that's world.
Yeah.
The whole, like, that's everyone.
That's a whole enchilada.
That's everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the oil market is kind of an inflexible or an inelastic kind of thing because we all need it. Like you just said,
The entire world, like, I can...
Everything's oil.
practically everything in this room.
I spy plastic.
It's like the plastic in our bodies too now. It's,
Yeah.
it's up. Like, so,
You know, I wanted some breast milk.
right? But it's like our countries can't quickly replace that oil. Like once we lose it. So
There's
we-
only so many resources that we have, and when they're
Degrowth,
gone,
Yeah.
yeah,
they're gone.
It's almost like green energy could kind of solve that problem, but
Yeah.
let's
It's
not
almost
talk
It's
about
almost like
that.
if we used aluminum, which is like pretty much 100% recyclable, the world would be better.
But that led to like panic buying. Like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there were
panic
like
buying.
super long lines at gas stations. Like everyone's like, no more oil. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We gotta get it before it's gone.
Bro, I should have
Exactly.
panic bought gas.
On it, so
I should've.
that's late. That's the next segment.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
like, I feel
The
like you're.
$6 sign flashed in my mind.
But,
It haunts me in my dreams.
but Jesse, you're right. Because like oil isn't the sole conflict, but like that
It
corporate
leads
control.
to a lot of it.
It's a huge
Bro, they're
factor.
gonna up my bus ticket.
Oh no.
No.
It's like but the foreign corporate control that kind of started the revolution in the first place, eventually, like, instead of like finding a way back around that, it's like, okay, the deal was bad. Instead of making a new deal, we just kept imposing sanctions on Iran,
Yeah.
which made our already falling relations even worse.
Yeah.
Because now, like, Iran's economy is crumbling.
Nail in the coffin. And also, if you're crumbling economy, it's really hard to pump oil.
It's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
So now
Dead
we're all
people
paying.
are really bad at oil rigs.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
workers to work on the oil rigs
I
because
know
they're
this
starving.
is a strange concept,
But
but
yeah,
perhaps
Yeah.
we do not have the skeletons and the necromancers to be doing this.
we do not, because we took away, like,
Yeah.
I think we put like massive taxes on, like, sugar and steel and, like, the commodities. Like,
Bro, were we not getting flashbacks of Britain? Like,
that's literally
Yeah.
it's the same tactics.
Yeah.
Bro, we for real hit them
No
with the
taxation
Stamp
without
Act?
representation.
Yes,
Yeah.
bro.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Because
God.
all of history is just things repeating
Which-
over and
Oh, yeah.
over again.
Which is the
Yeah.
main point of learning your history, so you don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
but
my illiterate government.
Speaking of, the majority of wars started in the past, especially World War II, started because of the lack of resources. So that's clearly a good starting point.
Maybe if we
Yeah.
shared them, like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
something the commons, something.
something.
But
Speaking of history repeating itself, do you guys want to move to the next section?
Yeah.
there's a couple more things on the TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, leading up to the big hits were 4 years after the revolution, the U.S. declared Iran a sponsor of terrorism. Talked about that. And then
Right.
after that, in a starring repeat, Bush comes and declares Iran an axis of evil. So he paints Iran as this cog in the grand machine that caused 9/11, because this was 2002. You may note that 9/11 was 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see how that lines up.
See,
And instead of taking the opportunity to say, okay, I hate the Taliban, you hate the Taliban, what we can do is we can improve PR, we can improve, what's the better word for cooperation, not
Yeah.
collusion. We can improve cooperation, we can get rid of this shared problem we have. Instead of that, he kind of just shot himself in the foot, and the government happened to be standing on the rest of America at the time, so he really shot all of us.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was like another domino. Some improvement was made when Obama signed the Iran nuclear deal.
I love
which
that guy.
We love Obama. So that improved a lot, because for 10 years at that point, we had been really stressed about, hey, we found uranium in there. We
Yeah.
don't like enriched uranium.
So but we made Iran the enemy.
Yeah.
Like, and of course they made themselves the enemy as well. Neither side is really innocent
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes to this, but it's like,
The
I
only
can't
one
really.
innocent is the dead
True.
and the citizens.
The
That
civilians
honestly,
who are just forced to be stuck in the crossfire
Yeah.
between
Forever.
for forever, for the governments and the people in power, because they're just trying to be like, no, they're the enemies, and trying to get the people's focus on them, so then that way people aren't paying attention to what the government and what all of
Not
the
what they're
people in
failing
power
at.
are doing, and how they're actually the ones like pretty much profiting and gaining anything from all of this.
And it gets to a point where it's like, I don't care who the enemy is, just fix it.
They're
Just
really
fix
kind of
it.
stuck between an AK and an airstrike.
That's really
Yeah.
where they are. And it's like, I feel like we don't acknowledge our privilege enough, because
Yeah.
although this is happening, we feel the economic effects of it.
Mhm.
We're not getting shot at.
Counterpoint. Counterpoint about that. Maybe not. We're not getting bombed at, but we are getting shot at. I think we should point at the Europeans and say that they're the privileged ones.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting shot at, the conflicts between, we're already going through this. Another example of this was Operation Praying Mantis. Now, before this, Operation Praying Mantis happened because a U.S. Navy ship was going through the Strait of Hormuz and hit a mine. A bunch of people died on that
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah.
That ship went down, and the U.S. was like, "You touched our boats." Japan knows what happens when
Yeah.
you touch
Touched their
American
boat.
boats.
Drop the sun on them.
Don't touch
And
the boat.
Thankfully, it was not dropping the sun on them twice, but it was more in the sense of, like posted in this article,
War on terror.
by the U.S. Navy on on the 18th of April 1988, the U.S. Navy launched Operation Praying Mantis against Iranian targets in the Arabian Gulf in retaliation for the USS Samuel B. Roberts mining for days earlier, which blew up an immense hole in the ship's hull. So essentially, basically, the U.S. responded in the sense of preventing the Iranian Navy from ever laying mines or even having any kind of aggression against the U.S. So the whole thing happened in one afternoon. We basically destroyed the Iranian Navy in one afternoon. So
The firepower.
was it proportional?
Yeah. No.
Was it proportional to one ship getting bombed? Not really. It's all up to debate whether that was ethical or not.
And
So you can kind of already see that this is getting bad.
Yeah.
But we put the mines there because, well, they put the mines there, right?
Make us
Yeah,
not go
they
there.
essentially put the mines there and kind of prevented that from. Yeah, because that was their aggression. So
Yeah. It
just
feels,
keep that in mind.
it feels so one-sided. It's like we have the capability to wipe out their entire navy in like an
God
afternoon,
versus
Yeah.
Anthill.
literally.
Yeah.
And like, but we're still like
We do have like triple their GDP
that. There's
in
that.
military.
Well, they would
spending
have more.
exclusively, bro.
They would have more
GDP if we didn't spend our.
if we didn't like
No.
put sanctions all over their oil.
That too.
So
But then how would we bully them?
that
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. It feels like we're just kind of bullying Iran.
How would we, like, Sonic the Hedgehog style beat the oil out of them if we didn't lower the HP first?
Yeah.
I guess.
Come on.
Are we even getting anything from them?
Not right now.
Well, of course not now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like I've said my piece.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
good for 3 now.
Yeah, flashing forward to today in 2026, there's so much going on because of decades upon decades,
73 years.
73 years worth of conflict, and technically even going further back than that.
Yeah.
Because everything just stacks and stacks and stacks upon each
If
other.
you want to count CIA, then I think we're almost over 100.
God. It's never been this. It's not that deep. Please, bro. Just cut the fighting, bro.
Yeah. For me, like I kind of start the whole 2026 conflict at right around 2017 with Trump. What do you guys think?
Yeah. That's.
I think that was like Biden was he was doing his best. He was still bad. He still sucked at it, especially the second half. But he was like pulling up the anchor, and then Trump cut the cord. So
I think the reason why kind of Trump is to blame is because he took us out of the Iran nuclear deal, and so that changed everything.
So fun.
So let's talk about this nuclear deal.
Nuclear
Yeah.
deal.
So, Iran is the enemy, according to the United States.
Yeah,
It
obviously.
is a threat. They chant death to America. They don't like us. They don't like our way of life. We put sanctions all over their stuff. We've collapsed their economy. We bully their military. It's just bad. The last thing that Washington would want is a nuclear-capable, pissed-off Iran. Am I right? I mean, that's the last
Yeah.
thing.
the
any of us
pissed off
would
is a given considering the shit we pull. So
Well, they're still
it's
pissed.
mostly
Yeah.
the important part is we cannot let the people that mad at us
Exactly. So
have the biggest gun.
we had a deal because we knew this.
Yeah.
We knew this.
Yeah.
We knew this.
So during
I miss
Obama,
when corrupt politicians were also smart.
right? You
Yeah,
would
can
think.
we go back to that? Like,
Pretty
I'm gonna be
please.
honest. I'm willing to have this level of. Oh, okay, that's a strong.
I was about to say.
almost willing to have like this. I'm almost willing to have this level of corruption if they were not this bad.
They're really bad.
Like-
they're not even hiding it anymore. But that's later down the line.
Yeah.
Oh my
Later
god.
discussion.
Yeah.
So the nuclear deal, or the JCPOA, which I forget the acronym. Yeah, I forget the acronym. I think I have it written down. But that's why we call it the Iran nuclear deal, because no one knows
Yeah.
what the hell JCPOA stands for. It was signed by the Obama administration, and it was essentially a deal that said Iran would abandon all nuclear pursuit in exchange for no sanctions.
Yeah. Or at least reduced.
Sanctions relief is the
Yeah.
air
Yeah.
quotes there. And this was great. Great for Iran. Now we can sell some oil, huh?
Exactly.
Finally.
Oh.
You win, I get my black gold. You get to eat this year.
The economy recovers. People are doing great, minus the fact they're living under an authoritarian government, but that's besides the point. The economy is doing fantastic. And, everything's handy, like hunky-dory, everything's swell. And then, we would come by You know, we would check their military sites.
There's a reason my notes go from 2013 to 2017. It's because problems
We
didn't
just
happen
chilled.
until we
Yeah.
And it's like, so, you know, we have people come in and check if they're enriching uranium. We have people come in and check what they're building, how close they are to nuclear weapons, etc. Because the whole point of the deal is to stop Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. That is all.
Yeah, because we just want mad, but without the mutually assured bit.
We just want
Exactly.
add.
Yeah, we just want add.
We want mutually assured.
No, we want
No.
add. Assured destruction.
Yeah.
If you touch me.
Oh yeah. We just want the mutually assured.
Okay, you and me want
That's-
mutually assured.
That's true.
Government wants assured destruction.
Yeah. Because Iran with no.
Hell, honestly, I'll take mutual.
That's true. Because we destroy their military either way.
Yeah.
So, but if they have a nuke, it's a big problem.
You don't
Um,
need a lot of people. Like, unlike all of the oil rigs, we really hope the dead people will start rigging out already. It doesn't take that many people to poke buttons that make you blow up.
No, especially if it's already set up. So, that was the deal. Until a certain someone took office, and although Trump is very bad at delivering on his campaign promises on all fronts, he
He's
did
great at
deliver.
delivering warheads.
He was really good at delivering this one, this warhead. And this warhead was pulling us out of the Iran nuclear deal. Why? So,
Reasons unknown?
no, Iran was developing missiles.
Yeah.
Not,
Okay.
not,
Not
now,
nuclear ones,
that,
but
yeah, because they can't enrich uranium, because we keep checking on them.
yeah.
And they started blocking our inspectors from going into the military sites.
Yeah.
So there was reasonable suspicion to like, okay, what
Yeah.
if they are refining or enriching uranium?
Okay, this
You
was
know.
not the deal.
Yeah, it's not the deal.
Not
and
the deal.
We can't really check on them. So a lot of critics were like, you know, this is bad. They could just be developing it in secret. They still have missiles. You know, there's still a problem. Even if they shot missiles at us, there's nothing they can do, as shown by Operation Praying Mantis, because that Navy got eaten up in the afternoon.
Wow.
So it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So Trump was like, this kind of kicks the can down the road. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of it. And because his plan was to put in a new deal
It's gonna be all gone.
that was it was going to stop them from
Load it all
developing
up.
ballistics as a whole. So no more ballistics,
Yeah,
no more
Why is he
missiles.
like
either.
cursed Italian?
I don't know. He's old. I don't know.
Is that a nationality?
Probably.
I wish. Can we
Oh.
excommunicate?
Maybe. Is that racial? Anyway.
Well, actually, technically that's Catholic, but
But that's the that's the point. That's the point. That was the point, to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And Iran was like, no, I'm not doing that. So but here's where he slipped up. He pulls us out of the deal. So there's no more.
sanctions are back on.
The sanctions are back on, plus 1,500 more sanctions. He added more sanctions.
Because
Double it and give it to the next person. Like he literally
But it's the
doubled
same
it.
person.
Double it and give it to the same country. Like that's
Exactly.
literally what
Yeah.
it was. And that
Next generation.
that pissed Iran off so bad.
why would it not? Of course they're pissed off about this.
Well, they began to enrich uranium.
Yeah.
But at a rate that like if they were like back at like I don't know 100% enriching uranium
Yeah.
capacity, they were at 160% enriching uranium. They were just
Yeah.
all they were
it
doing.
went from back pocket to on the table.
All they were doing was enriching uranium. That's all they were doing. All they were doing. So of course, here comes the conflict. Now we gotta blow up their stuff all the
we
time.
just have to.
we have to do
Speaking
it.
of
No other
blowing
choice.
up,
Yearn for the mines.
Operation Epic
The land
Fury.
mines.
Here we go.
Is that big part here?
Yup.
So, this current conflict with Iran, we got issues with them
Extra
enriching
violence.
uranium, all that stuff. So, to give a better perspective on this, and give a better intention as to why we did what we did, is an article from the U.S. Department of State on April 21st, 2026, so pretty current.
Yep.
Clearly states these intentions. On February 28th, the United States Armed Forces launched Operation Epic Fury with a set of clear objectives to destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy Iran's navy and other security infrastructure, and finally ensure that Iran will never have nuclear weapons to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, took some B-2 stealth bombers in there, put some massive ordnance penetrators in there, the mother of all bombs,
Some bunker busters.
yeah,
you
bunker
know.
busters,
Yeah.
blew everything up, and
I love
essentially
it.
accomplished everything. And let's hope they don't. They learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And again, along with Operation Praying Mantis,
Yeah.
was this ethical?
Well,
I think that this is War on Terror Part 2.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like
Part something, honestly, we've been doing this a whole long time in
Yeah.
a whole lot of states.
there was no diplomacy like during this time. There was
Actually,
zero
no,
diplomacy.
it's War on Terror Part 1. It never ended.
It never ended.
Yeah.
We're still in Act 1.
Yeah.
Great.
I hope there's not an act 2. I hope it just stops.
Terror
But
Point,
that's
what
not gonna.
Let me think. Was there a sequel to The War to End All Wars?
No.
Whoa,
Yes.
absolutely not.
No, Germany never got a bad idea again.
It's called the Great War II Electric Boogaloo.
Like, just double it, bro. Just double it at this point.
The greatest war of all time. But for real this time, y'all. I swear. On God.
Trust
on
us,
God,
this is the
for
last
real.
one.
But
Yeah.
like,
Trust.
so we're just. It's even worse because like now not only are we destroying all of Iran's stuff, they still have sanctions. So
Yeah.
we've crippled their economy. It's basically torn its ACL. The career is over, and
Angry people love to make bombs.
they really, we really do. We really do. And Israel is on their head too. So they're just getting from,
Yeah.
Now we don't have to fire many missiles. Trump does that on his own.
Yeah.
But whenever we're not firing missiles, Israel's firing missiles.
And
So-
sometimes they overlap, I bet.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
we just destroy them. That's it.
stockpile.
And
Yeah.
the citizens pay the price.
Yeah, citizens are always constantly paying the price for pretty much all of this.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause-
And they didn't ask at all. They didn't ask for that. And it's just, it really pains me every time this happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, because the thing is, I don't know these people. I don't know any of them.
But I know what a person looks like.
But I know what a person looks
Yeah.
like. And from my perspective, these are people.
That's
Despite
accurate.
what they
Yeah.
believe. And even then, like their leader is the one who's talking about death to America this, death to America that, and if you don't believe in that, he's taking you out. So do the people really do really not like me? Or
Like,
they
I
just
was-
have to say that they do?
I remember there being
Yeah.
like a very big, like conservative pushback on. There was like a organization called LGBTQ plus for, I think it was for. What's the Palestine?
Yes.
Yeah, LGBTQ for Palestine, and I remember there being like a very very large like American conservative pushback on. Well, they'd want you dead. That's not my business. They don't have the ability to do that. Whereas, like, my
That's
government.
Yeah, the
does.
government's.
Yeah. Like
can.
like
Also, I would probably have more extreme beliefs than I do now if I had no access to education, if I had
edited
no
textbooks, banned
textbooks.
books.
Yeah, speaking of like banning media.
lifelong government interference with the way that I think, and
Thought
also
crime.
starving to death.
Yeah, because also, I'm not sure if any of you guys had this issue, but when I was trying to look up sources for this, so many were taken down. I had sources, I literally had bookmarked for this project,
Oh my.
and then I go back and they're gone.
That's
and
crazy.
Yeah, I found an article about this by Jeff Brumfield on NPR KQED from April 10th, 2026, talking about how so many things about the Iranian like conflict now are just taken out. They're literally
wonder
gone because
if Wayback Machine could pull it up.
Probably.
Hope so.
yeah. But either way, wars
Yeah.
have just also transitioned to media again for
Yeah.
propaganda because war is a really big
It's the
thing.
modern game to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Because if
alter
you
history.
Yeah, because if you can just erase what happened, if you can hide what's going on, do the people really know?
No.
Yes, sometimes. Depends on where you're, but
depends on
And
how well you
depends
can
on your
hide it.
apathy.
and how well you can hide it too.
Yeah,
But like control the visuals, control the minds of
Yeah.
the people,
for sure.
and it's just it's so fun.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
we love hiding media and censorship here.
it's just
so great.
It's so icky. It's like
I
if
think-
you're gonna do it, be honest about
Mhm.
it.
Like that sounds on the same shit. I'm pretty sure that the Library of Congress or whatever, like the articles online, I think they took out the Tuskegee Airmen.
They did.
Oh.
Yeah,
Bro.
So that was Trump's DEI
Like,
initiative. He
yeah.
just cut out everything.
Like it's bad enough if you're taking away like Native Americans. I think it also took away the Navajo code talkers.
All of that.
It's bad enough when you take out the concept of a brown person. It's even worse when you like the Tuskegee Airmen were like really patriotic symbols, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was a huge win for America. Same with Navajo code talkers. So
It's
it
like-
is kind of wild that we're at the point of censorship where even super duper patriotic things.
But this
are
is the
cooked.
lowest level. This
Oh,
is the
yeah.
lowest
Yeah.
level.
Oh,
We're
for
experiencing the lowest level of censorship. Iran,
Yeah.
they probably don't even understand what American life looks like.
Yeah.
No, God, no.
Definitely not.
And that's the fault of their government. They just
Mhm.
refuse to tell them anything other than America bad.
Yeah,
'Cause as
if
soon as
you
they see a better life,
understand,
that's it.
if you
Yeah.
understand that an American is a human being, you cannot.
You can't you
Simplify.
can't dehumanize someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's why, you know, we kind of hold the cards here because it's like our country's the one doing the bullying despite Iran being a threat. You know, you and I
Yeah.
could stop this.
A lot of this also like ties into the Israel conflict
Israel is its own.
and how we keep throwing money at what is essentially not our problem.
Yeah, I mean, Israel has the right to defend itself, but
Not the right to step on somebody's toes and then defend itself
well, you don't have
from
the,
pulling its foot out of its territory.
you don't have the right to murder civilians like that. You have to keep them out of the crossfire as much as you can. I know
Yeah.
war is hard, but it's like, you know.
Yeah.
But as it stands, I feel that the Iran nuclear deal kind of was the big pin that was pulled on this whole.
And there were talks, as far as I understand.
Well-
The last we've heard about it was March and May 2025. Trump, so that's when he discarded the nuclear talks,
Yeah,
with specifically the ones that Biden had initiated.
he hates
but
Biden.
he hates Biden. But after that, in June 2025, there was a missile strike, of course.
Yeah,
That he was trying to use as intimidation tactic of get back in the deal
yeah.
right now, get back in your corner, and yeah, like that's just not great. And as far like my citation for part 3 is The War Against Iran and Global Risks. Tell me how this ends. It's by Widyan Hamdak, and he's with Georgetown University. It was published on March 26th of this year. So that's pretty close. And my summary of that article is as such: the destabilization of Iran may lead to consequences including a more militaristic government going forward, further destabilization of the region as a whole, and floods of refugees. The future is unknown, especially with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death. We added an
Insult to
entirely
injury.
new set of variables when
We killed
Trump
the
ordered
Supreme
that
Leader.
strike on the known threat.
Yeah.
Their supreme leader's gone,
Yeah,
replaced by his kid, but like
but we don't know much about the kid.
at all. So that's
Yeah.
great. You could be totally chill, and we're just still.
Yeah. We're
But-
operating off of bad information. We shouldn't be there in the first place. We need to get out of the sandbox.
And even then,
also Americans are struggling. Like I joked earlier.
the gas price.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just
real.
the misery escaping my body because I own a V6 4-liter truck.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over for you. But our peace talks have also stalled
Shit, send me in there,
because
chief. I'll dig it up myself.
this was recent. MSNBC, literally yesterday, Trump said that peace talks were too much. They were too much. He said that he
I
hates.
apologize for my
He
outburst.
said that
That's
he hates the
ridiculous.
time we waste flying over there and the time we spend talking to them. That if they want to broker a peace deal, they can just call him, like over the phone. That's where we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that should be our closing
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so, if there's anything, is there anything else, you guys?
Vote in the midterms.
Yeah.
Vote
'Cause
in the midterms.
Yeah. As there's so much to talk about with this, but we need to wrap this up.
Yes.
Keep
And
your empathy.
the
keep
most
your empathy,
important thing.
Donate what you can. If that's time, if that's money, if that's sharing with people you know.
Uncover
Yeah.
the
Do
truth.
what you can.
Yeah, keep your empathy, and most importantly, keep trying to keep yourself updated on this,
A
especially
major way to protest is to store
be
information.
knowledgeable,
Store information.
store information, especially in a war with media.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for joining us here today in the Solano College TV studio, and we hope you have a good rest of your day.
Hopefully, less depressing.
Hopefully less depressing.
Bye.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting,
Whether you're commentating a live game
or hosting your own TV show,
For more information, contact Greg Poff. That's me at solano.edu.
we hope to see you here next semester. And remember,
It's more than just sports. It's an education.